you ever seen
Yeah.
him like just like rapidly crouch up and down?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh my god, so many times I'm trying to like shoot one in the head from a distance, and he's like the cover is like halfway up on his chest, right? And he's like rapidly just crouching up and down.
I've never seen that. That's
He's like
crazy.
trolling you. I was like, what?
That's super, super funny.
Welcome to Scav Talk, an Escape from Tarkov podcast with a focus on the continued development of the game, patch note analysis, theory crafting, and general gameplay discussions. My name is Church. I do content creation, video editing, and general live streaming.
And I'm GigaBeef, a Tarkov YouTuber bringing mainly beginner and intermediate guides to help players improve their gameplay, knowledge, and confidence. And apparently, I'm also Linus Tech Tips' little brother as well, as I've been told a million times in the comments. So, welcome to the show. I had one
I love
today.
that, dude.
I had one today as well. Hey, you look like Linus. You look like Linus Tech Tips. You look like his little brother. I honestly, it's like one a week. It's mental. Honestly, it's mental.
A little bit, but I mean,
I kind of get it. I feel like,
yeah.
if you looked at both of us, we kind of look like we're from the same tribe. You know what I mean? Like, we're not necessarily like brothers or anything, but we're definitely from the same tribe. That's for sure. Oh, it's crazy, man. I get it
That's
nonstop.
funny.
What was it? There was another one as well. I can't even remember. Yeah, cousins, maybe. Exactly. Cousins. So, how's it been going? How's Tarky treating you?
Pretty good. As we talked about a little bit before, I'm taking a break from Tarky. Just sort of kind of just burnt out on the game and the loop, just just want to take a break, and that way I can come back, and feel like it would help when I'm trying to create content and things of that nature. It's just kind of hard sometimes when it's just like, man, I'm really not feeling it, and it's just I feel like it's gonna reflect on the content, which I definitely is reflecting in my live streams. So. Yeah, so we're taking a break from Tarkov for a bit.
I think that's fair enough. If you know, I think it's better to know and reflect and be like, I'm not having a good time, and I need to break away and then come back. As I said to you before, yeah, because of the amount of other stuff I'm trying to do and with YouTube and things, like I often find even just like trying to get enough time to play to actually just like have the clips that I need. Even I'm just like, oh my god, I got to get some clips for this and that or the other. I got to run this loadout or that loadout,
Yeah,
and try and get some stuff. So I'm fortunate. I'm always relatively excited to play because it's I just end up getting so limited. Although I have actually ended up in this really bad situation where after I did the Punisher Trout stuff and then like the factory guide, now I basically can't play any other map without feeling kind of weird, which is really strange. So I ended up doing like a clip the other day, and I was like, oh, I'll just do the one factory because it's really quick and easy, and it's just like you can bash like 8 raids out in an hour kind of thing.
yeah.
And now I'm just like, oh, going to any other map, it's just like, oh, almost feels like a bit of a chore. I'm like, oh goodness,
It's a big change in pace for sure.
it's such a change in pace. It actually has a huge impact. I was like, I think it was the first couple of raids I started doing on some other maps, because we started with factory on my last stream, and then I like moved to somewhere else, and I was like, God, I actually have to like look to the horizon and stuff. I was like, I kind of out of practice. It was really weird actually. So it's kind of where I'm at. I'm a factory addict now, and it's hard to unwind that. It's hard to unwind that, but no, it's good. It's going good. It's going good. I only did a little bit of non-fractured, a little bit of shoreline, and that was about it. But mostly just like outside stuff. So yeah, I've been working on an SVD video. Partly not necessarily because like I actually wanted to so much. Like, I actually really like the SVD anyway, and it's just kind of fun. It's not like the best gun of all time, but it's I always have a good time when I use it. It's entertaining, and people keep commenting on my old one, being like, I tried to build this and I don't get the same stats. And I was just like, oh, okay, I'm really going to have to redo this, because I've had like lots of people being like, I keep trying to make these guns and it just doesn't work. I'm like, look at the date. It's out of date. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna do that next.
It's kind of a complicated gun, because certain parts you have to change, certain like low band receivers or whatever, and then some parts has like additional mounts on it that is like not
Exactly.
super obvious.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like forked. You go like lower band version, or you go like free float chassis version. There's kind of like two
Yeah, yeah.
variants. It's yeah, it's good. But yeah, that's kind of what I was like blitzing around factory with, just like a red dotted SVD, just like,
It's
oh god,
scary, man.
I had some like, it's funny because like you do kill anybody with it. It's quite entertaining, but it almost like it plays a lot more like a Saiga 12 with AP-20
Mm,
slugs than anything else. I just like
mm,
point fire that thing with a laser on it. But I had
yeah.
I had some fun raids. I had some really dopey raids. Honestly, like some of them were so stupid. Like looking through the back room, and there's two guys who are just like hiding in there. But I like, literally leaned around the corner and got like KS-23 flashbanged right in the face as I leant around. Killed the first guy, but the second guy had a P90, so I died. Like another raid, exactly the same room. Dude's in there, like throw a grenade in, kill him, but blow myself up with the nade. Like just like I had so many ridiculous raids, honestly. And then there was like
Yeah.
another one which I just went completely out of control, where I ran into forklifts. There were two like pistol guys. One of them was like, I like fire a few shots, but he hides behind a forklift. I like come around the corner, and there's the other guy's like at the blinking light thing, and I just like stare at him because I actually went back and watched the VOD, and I'm just like stare at him for like 2 seconds. I'm just like, huh, he's doing the quest, and then I leave him alone and just chase his friend round and round and round and round like various bits of machinery because he's just like trying to escape the whole time. Kill him, but leave the other guy alive. And then it was like protecting him, fighting some guy with like an M1A down the glass hallway, kill him, run up, and then someone else comes in and kills both of us from behind. I was like, what is even going on? I was like spamming voice lines and stuff. It's like so random compared to the way I normally play. It's super weird. It's super weird. So yeah, I've just had like weird raids. It's just been strange, but I enjoyed myself. It's been fun. It's been fun.
That's cool.
Hmm. Hmm. So the podcast and 1210 and Nikita and Tetris and all sorts of things. What is going on? What is going on?
Good stuff, man. I was actually really happy they came out with a patch. Like they announced the podcast because I was like, man, I really could use an up pick me up from VSG right now. Um, so yeah, some pretty cool stuff. I don't know if you saw. I assume you skimmed through the patch notes
Yeah, so
and
I
whatnot.
skimmed through the patch notes. I didn't get a chance to listen in. Unfortunately, I had
Hmm.
like some stuff to do today, so I didn't actually get to listen to the whole 3 hour thing. Our boy Jesse Kazam smashed out a summary video like straight away, so I watched
Yeah,
that. But so I've got kind of like an overview, but I guess you watched
cool.
it all, so hopefully there's no surprises.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some of the things that caught your eye, as far as like the actual patch notes they put in there. So one of the things I saw that I didn't really see in the podcast, maybe I missed it, but let's see here, ballistic glasses NPP Condor, and then it has like parentheses with additional armor protection for eyes.
Hmm.
So is that like a class 1, class 2 sunglasses we can throw on for our head eyes? Like it's kind of got me interested.
Yeah, I wonder. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? That'd be interesting. It's
Yeah.
either be like something sensible, or like basically if it's not like level 1 with high ricochet chance, no one's gonna care. You know what I mean? So, like, the high
God, if
ricochet
it's
chance, no one
high ricochet chance, come on,
high
man.
ricochet chance, everyone loves it. Zero class 0, high ricochet chance, everyone will wear it. It's meta, you
Yeah,
know? It's
it
mental.
really is though.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind about that is like I've been wearing those crossbow glasses
Mhm.
on pretty much everywhere now because they've got the highest like anti-flash thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And because I was doing such stupid raids, I actually stopped wearing a face shield, but the face shields actually have like anti-flash on them as well, so that like doubles up. So who knows whether this could have like even more on it, as well as maybe some like ricochet chance or something might make it actually quite
yeah.
decent to run. Who knows?
Could be related to the flash stuff. It could be related to armor protection. Who knows?
Yeah.
Something that caught my eye. Um, Another thing I'll just throw out. They adjusted player spawns on customs.
Oh yes, I did see that. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah,
hopefully it means they fix the stuff around Big Red because
yeah,
I do think those are a bit crazy. But I mean, the problem is they have to be so careful with fixing or changing the player spawns, just because
hmm,
people kind of run to the same places, right? People run to crack house, they run to
yeah,
dorms, so they have to be kind of mindful about the distances to those locations and making it. I know it's hard. It's not easy
yeah.
because you don't want to just put someone like right there, right? Um,
Right.
It just makes it kind of too easy to just like sprint in and grab stuff and then run away. But
unless the map's called reserve and you spawn
yeah,
in big server.
yeah.
I'm surprised they did that change because that was just kind of like, oh well, let me go ahead and shove this military transmitter at my butt real quick. So I wonder if they're doing anything like that.
I don't know.
But
You could do.
I will say, if the game ever hits dynamic loot spawns, is it a bad thing if you spawn in dorms or in crack house or in stronghold?
Yeah, then it's not too bad. Then it doesn't matter. It only matters at the
Right.
moment because of the way that like certain items spawn in particular places. Because I still think even with dynamic loot, right, you have kind of like low tier, mid tier, high tier, that kind of thing. But if they're like more spread
Yeah.
out across the map, then it matters a lot less. You could have people spawn in like construction or like elbow
Mm.
or whatever, right? And it would be okay. Although they can kind of take up defensive positions, I suppose. But I don't know. I feel like they should just add loads more spawn points and have them conditional on each other. So it's like if someone spawns here, you can't spawn
Yeah.
within a certain radius and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it means. We'll see where people end up going, and we won't really know until it's out. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that I put as top of my list
Mhm.
when I was reading through was new rounds 762 by 39 MAIAP. What is this? Is this better than BP? I hope so. If it is,
Probably.
then that'd be quite cool because then I think that's one piece that the 762 AKs have been missing for a while, which is a top tier meta round. Because I mean, I've spoken about this before, and I did a video about it, and I really don't like the AK, like the AKM right now. I don't think it's very good at all. And the 103, like they were just about like people use them all the time, and it's like I get crap every time I say this, but they just have like they have high recoil, low rate of fire, and the rounds are like good on their own, but in the context of everything else being added like mediocre, I just don't think that it is great. Right? You can get unlucky, and you could have have 2 BPs absorbed by a level 5. And if you're
Yeah.
firing at 600 RPM, that's awful, right? So, like, look, it has potential to two-tap people, sure, but it's like a 50% through level 5 and even lower through level 6. And I think there's kind of an element which I haven't really quantified about the 762 AKs, which is kind of like in my mind, but it's not something I ever really like. I don't ever really explain properly. Is like the higher the rate of, it's kind of like the higher the rate of fire you have, the more likely you are to actually hit someone in the head, right? So the lower rate of fire thing, if you're just shooting at thoraxes in a simulation, that's one thing, but you've got this kind of like chance to headshot, right? And it's kind of like with any decent ammo, pretty much the headshot will kill you. And so the lower the rate of fire you get, the lower the chances really that you're just going to like randomly snag a lucky headshot. And so I do think that has an element to play. Anyway, I do think this is nice. This is good. This helps with making them pack a bit more of a punch and allowing them to be seen in the end game. Because other than fun, people aren't really running those, to be honest. And I
Yeah.
think also it would be nice to give something like the we'll see what damage it has. To be honest with you, it's probably lower than BP, I would guess, but it'll give a little push to the SKS as well in that respect.
Mm.
So I'm excited to see what that comes out as, and I hope it's more. I don't actually know. I had a quick look. I couldn't see anything on there. Like I'm not a ballistics expert. I don't know what that stands for, and I couldn't find anything immediately that was like really obvious as to what it might be and like kind of what grade it might be, whether it sits between PS and BP. Because to be honest, there is also an argument for a round to sit between those two as well. Because the jump from
Mhm.
PS to BP is actually also huge. You kind of want
Yeah.
like a round in the middle and then another round at the end that's like the top tier but like really expensive round. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope it's better than BP though. I hope it's like a meta round. That would excite me.
Yeah. Be pretty
Yeah.
good.
I think the other thing that I was just like, I don't even know what this is, and this sounds hilarious, is the new barter items TNT and thermite. I was like,
What? I missed
that
that. I didn't
sounds
see
that
that.
sounds amazing. I don't know. I think they're just like random barter
What?
items. I don't think you can use them or anything. But I was like, why have they added that? That makes me fearful.
Makes me excited.
I know, just getting like TNT'd or something. I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what that's about. We'll see what
Yeah.
that's about. Um, Yeah, what else? What else? What else? What else? Of like random things that I've noted down. This is like some small quality of life stuff that will make a huge difference to the flea market. The message item already purchased has been moved to notification. Oh, that's so good. No more escaping out of the, you try to buy and then it's like, nope, it's gone. It'll be like, when does this appear normally? So the notification when you like try to click on the part and it's not compatible or something, and it
Oh,
comes
like
up
on
in
the
the little thing and it goes,
bottom right?
it makes that little tick noise, and
Yeah.
you can make loads of them
Yeah.
come up if you click it loads of times. I can't remember what that actually comes up for, but anyway, I think that's what they mean, and it'll be like that. So you'll try to buy it
That's
and it'll just
good.
say item is out of stock or something in the corner, which is like
Yeah.
big plus. That's very nice. Because having to escape out of that screen is just crap, and unnecessary. So I really like that. I mean, I can just go through the list of stuff that I thought was interesting. Right, these are like the things that I thought were the most interesting out there. Steam audio being back in and rain 30% quieter. That's brilliant.
I was gonna say that.
I think
Yeah.
people have been asking for the rain to be quieter for ages. Didn't they say, like, I remember seeing somewhere that like this is the 6th time rain had been
Yeah.
decreased in
I was
volume or
like
something. It's like, oh my god, can you
I heard that, I was
imagine?
like, "What?"
Yeah, can you imagine going back to the original game and it's just like you go into the rain, you just like take your headphones off and just like put them on the desk because you can still hear it from from above your keyboard or something.
It's
So
just pure static.
yeah, exactly. So I think that would be nice. Like, hopefully this will be enough that it's in a good place, because I actually don't find rain too
Yeah.
bad at the moment, but I had a really busy week when it was raining nonstop and didn't really play, so it didn't really affect me as much as some other people. But I do find it's like very slightly too loud. Like, I can't have my game at the same volume as I would normally, because when I finish, I have some kind of like small tinnitus kind of effect
Yeah,
afterwards
see,
where my
that is
ears
a
are ringing.
problem. For sure, that is a
Yeah.
problem.
So I think this is good. I always turn my volume down when the rain's on, and so 30% is probably about the amount that I turn it down by, which should be good. And I'm looking forward to it. And with the addition of Steam Audio coming back, I really liked
Mhm.
Steam Audio when it came in,
Same.
and
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to that. I remember at the beginning it kind of had like grenades were busted and stuff. You couldn't; they were like directionless, but they fixed it after a bit and then took it away.
Hmm.
And then I was very sad. So hopefully it comes back the way it was and is going to get even better. And then I think like I saw some stuff about like the future patches that they're going to be doing the revamp of the sound and all this kind of stuff, which is like those important elements that they've got planned for the future. Which is like, that's fine, right? They need to fix stairs audio and a few other bits and pieces of like localization and that kind of thing, which I guess will go hand in hand with Steam Audio's part 2 and 3, I guess, because this is only Steam Audio 1, right, that we've got at the moment. There's like other stuff that they can put in later, which is going to make it even better, like more occlusion and that kind of thing. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It should be fun. It should be fun. Um, Next one. Bots not spawning in Horde mode on Factory. I actually find that really
You know
annoying.
what? I was trying to get footage of Scav boss on customs in offline mode, and I could not get any scavs to spawn.
Huh.
Like, I tried I did as online, difficulty as online, enable scav boss, 0 scavs. I went everywhere, GigaBeef, like,
Really?
no scavs. Then I did and then I did, Horde amount and 0 scavs. There's something's bugged with offline
Oh, that's weird
and
because I know
scavs,
about
but
the
only on
Horde
customs.
factory is broken, so you have to put them on
Mhm.
high, otherwise none spawn on factory at all if you put it on Horde mode. So high's still enough, but yeah, I mean there's the scavs on offline. I think they should auto spawn if you click enable bosses. I think they auto spawn is like 100% chance of them spawning in offline, I believe,
Yeah,
for testing
but
purposes and
I
stuff.
couldn't get any
Yeah, it's
scavs at
weird.
all,
That's weird.
which
I
is
haven't.
yeah.
I only ever play offline modes on factory normally, just because it's like the fastest map to load, and I'm
Yeah.
usually testing something. Um, so that is interesting. I didn't notice that because I haven't actually tried to load into any other places. But yeah, I mean, it's clearly on their radar as something that needs to be repaired. I don't like. I always wonder, like, how does something like that go wrong? How does that even break?
Yeah, it's my hunch would be when they did those patches where it's like, we're, making custom spawn, like, interchange AI. I don't know if you remember that,
Oh yeah,
but as far
that's
as
true.
factory goes,
Actually,
I
that's
don't
probably
know
right. Yeah, it's probably
because I
something to do with that
actually
and spaghetti code.
yeah, exactly. I only do high on factory because Horde is just like 30 frames a second. It's just like high is pretty bad, but yeah, Horde is really bad.
Horde's insane and it's funny. It's mental.
Yeah.
They're like piling up outside the door and stuff. It's like it's nuts. It's nuts. I love it. It's super funny.
Speaking of AI changes, did you see that list?
That's
that
actually
comprehensive list.
That is actually
of
next
AI?
on the list. That's actually next on my list. So bots can't see as well. They shoot less accurately on the move. Slowed reaction times. Detection radius decreased. Can't shoot in prone anymore, and like worse vision through bushes or something. I was like, man, that sounds like a pretty across the board nerf to scavs in general. We'll see. Maybe they will take it too far. I don't know, because it sounds like they've nerfed everything. Some stuff I don't mind. Can't shoot while they're going prone. That's kind of fair enough, right? You see, everyone's seen enough clips of raiders who like do a 360 spin and then like they're lying down and then poof, and headshot somebody from halfway across reserve. That's definitely happened. But yeah, shooting less accurate on the move, that's fine. I wish they just put like a bit more kind of animations in so that they sort of run to cover and then fire from there and then like run towards the player, because they still kind of do that like weird crab walk and like circle around you firing. Which
have you ever seen them like just like rapidly crouch up and down?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh my god, so many times I'm trying to like shoot one in the head from a distance, and he's like the cover is like halfway up on his chest, right? And he's like rapidly just crouching up and down.
I've never seen that.
He's like trolling you. I was like, what?
That's super funny. That's super funny. So yeah, no, that's gonna be good. I think that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually don't really have a problem with scavs, I have to say, but I've seen a lot of people having issues with them. I'm a converted face shield man these days, and so it doesn't matter as much. But I've been face shotted by buckshot before. It has happened. Not as often as like what I see people talking about, to be honest with you. But I mean, they are pretty accurate. They are quite annoying. The one thing I don't really like is the slow reactions thing. I don't think they should react any slower to people.
Was a bit of a red flag for me, because I already felt like
they're not that fast, right?
Once you like get adjusted to the timing, you have like a second and a half or 2 seconds to like take them out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a skill thing. You know what I mean? It like puts pressure on you. So now I'm kind of like, that one kind of worried me. Like, how much are we talking? Are we talking like doubling it to like 4 seconds, where he's like flips you off twice or something, and then you can shoot him?
Yeah, I don't really know, because the times that I've used that mostly is, again, it's like I'm like PvPing on factory or something, and then there's scavs around, and I hear that kind of what are like noise in the background, but I just keep running, and like, because I'm like heading for a doorway, and I'm just like, right, if I just keep running, I'm gonna get through before maybe he takes one shot, and I get unlucky. And it's kind of like that timing there. It already feels like I can kind of cross the open and get through a doorway before they start firing properly, especially if there's like a box or something nearby. And so I was like, oh, I don't know if that's necessary, and that's why I worry that it's maybe too much, because I think in the past the scavs have been like loot pinatas. I think somebody called it on Reddit at one point, which is,
oh really?
It's just like they're just like wandering around with a gun, and they can't shoot at you, and they can't see you, and they just don't really.
Yeah.
It's a very fine line, I think, between making them dangerous and making them just like stupid.
Yeah. Some of the the parts that I liked the most was like the shooting while proned, or shooting while doing the prone animation, to be clear. Because if I can't do that, then why can the scav do that,
Yeah.
So it kind of like aligns the whatever. And then the shooting through bushes, like they said they improved that.
Yeah.
So they're not lasering you through bushes. I like that, kind of like makes me feel like I'm not fighting an AI. So
yeah, because that
some of the other stuff, like the reaction time and their perception radius, like all of this is adding up to making me worry a little bit that they're going to be semi-loot pinatas, like you said.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like, yeah, I really like if they implement it properly. I don't know how it's going to feel, but I really like the decreased visibility, like through foliage and stuff, because like I absolutely hate fighting scavs like over grassy hills and that kind of thing. And I'm sure it's not just me, because you hear them, you kind of know where they are, but you can't see them until you really open up yourself. You can see just over the grass, but like you're down to your thorax is actually open, right? Because the hardcover is like down to here, and so you just end up getting taken out half the time, where you just get pot shotted constantly. It's very annoying. So I just completely I'm so ingrained in it now. I think this is partly why I never have an issue with it, is that I play around them in a very specific way, and I just don't take those angles and don't take those fights, right? And so I like come back and find like an actual rock or something where it's got a very defined edge, so I can just peek over and take them out from there. Otherwise, I'll just kind of avoid them or just like not even engage at all, because I've just done it too many times and just been killed. I think it's kind of like muscle memory at this point. To like not take those and not take any chances. I just don't really take any chances with scavs, because like
Yeah.
they're not going to go anywhere, and so you can just move around them and just like not risk it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I can be more bold in the future. Who knows?
Someone asked in chat, why shouldn't scavs react as fast as players? And I kind of agree. I feel like they should maybe have like, that's what I'm really worried about, how low this reaction time, because I kind of feel like the reaction time was in a good spot, as I said earlier.
I
So
agree.
unless they want them to be like some lore based, like untrained, oh my god, I'm a scav, suka bliat, I mean, how do I aim my gun? I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll have to test it and see.
Exactly. I feel like maybe like if you want to do it like that, maybe you have like the first sighting is slow, and then they're faster again after that first
that makes
one.
sense.
Something along those lines, because I wouldn't want them to just be slow all the time. I just think it's not very good.
Yeah,
we'll see how it pans out. But yeah, scav
for sure.
stuff. This kind of like neatly feeds into. Is this coming in this patch, or was the next one? I think there's
I think it's the next one, the scav karma.
Yeah, that's the one after, right?
12-11, yes.
Yeah, and
The next
so
one.
what they said, Fence is going to be like the main man, and you're going to get rep with him by doing various things with your scav and extracting and saving scavs or something along these lines. It sounded a bit nebulous, but
Fence will have loyalty levels and will sell stuff plus cool features. In addition to that, they're removing Fence from the flea market. I just got some really bad notes here. Fence rep will represent scav karma. Low rep equals worse scav gear and higher cooldown your scav. To boost karma, you protect scav bosses, protect scavs, extract of PMCs, and I think he even said killed scavs who kill other scavs. Get like boosts to your karma.
like what does protecting scav bosses mean in the
That's what I was
context of this game?
wondering.
Like, unless
Do
they
you
change
like
it completely.
not
Well, right now
kill?
they shoot you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
something is going to be changed quite
How do
radically.
you?
I was like, how does this even work? You're just like hiding behind a box, just like, killer, don't kill me. I'm trying to protect you. You know, that'd be quite cool though. Can you imagine if you went in as a scav and then, you have a map or something, it shows you where the scav boss is, that kind of thing. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm
We'll have
excited.
to
I think it's
see.
gonna be fun.
I
You're
kind
gonna
of
have
feel
like
like,
Chad Scav, where you're like, oh yeah, I'm like, level 4 fence, and I just spawn in every time with a sick kit.
yeah, that'd be that I like if I have a really high rep, am I gonna get like an SVD scav every time or something? Like like a thermal on my SV98, like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That make me want to play scav a lot more.
Yeah, because like I play Scav quite a lot at the moment, but it is just like, I mean, Factory is much more free for all anyway than the other maps, but we're gonna have to see what happens with that. I think it's gonna be fun. But I like that Fence is becoming an actual thing. Like right now, he's just kind of a visor delivery mechanism. When they're broken, and that's
That
about
or
it.
snag bolts for 7k ruples.
Yeah, exactly.
When you can, yeah.
Yep. So that's gonna be fun. And we're gonna see what happens with that. And I don't really know. So, was there anything else about the upcoming patch that you had noted?
Yeah. The last thing they put in some I have a list of changes to the shader system. I want to say something about mip mapping, which I'm not savvy at all. I just know it's a thing in games. But essentially what he was saying, Nikita, was that reducing stress on your RAM, which Tarkov just like eats so much system RAM, it's kind of insane. So that's going to be good. And it's, I think by default it's unchecked and you have to turn it on in the settings. So we'll see how that pans out. But that's always good. I like it when they optimize the game more and open it up.
Is
People
that
will,
some kind of new setting they're adding specifically, or is that something they said is
yeah,
there already?
I think it was they're adding in this next patch. I think it's like has to do with both shader caching and then this new, I want to say mip mapping, but I'm not sure if that's the correct term. But this new thing you can turn on essentially.
Yeah, I read it in the patch notes. I think it might be that, but I was just like, I don't really mind what it is they add, but if they're improving performances, then that's always nice to see. I think that's the one weird thing about Tarkov, because it's kind of like, not like it's it's not really unoptimized or anything, but it seems to have quite an inconsistency between different systems. You can have someone who's got a very average system, but it works really well, and some people have really good systems and it just doesn't work properly. And there's a lot more stuttering and that kind of stuff on some people who've got great hardware. So I think there seems to be some inconsistency with it. So hopefully that kind of thing will help, so that it's a bit more even across the board with
Hmm.
everyone's machines. I think
For
that's
sure.
cool. I think that's cool. Yeah, more work on that is always good. It's always good. Yeah. So this next one, so 12.10 is going to be these few changes, a couple of bits and pieces, some nice items in there, and then all the big stuff's coming in 11 and 12, right?
Yeah, it kind of seemed like they moved a lot of stuff over to patch 12.11,
Mm.
and I want to say the same sort of happened for patch 12.9. Not as much, but it seems like they've moved a lot of stuff to 12.11. Like I think the customizable rigs, for sure the weapon degradation system was supposed to be in this patch, but that got moved. Maybe even the armor hit zone box. Like there was just a lot of stuff that they said that got moved. So it's definitely like a smaller patch, a bit of a bug fix, some small content. I thought it was actually pretty interesting. I got some notes just from like the podcast itself, but
Hmm.
yeah.
In what sense?
Um, well, like at the start of the podcast, I really enjoyed this. Nikita made a joke about Bitcoin and he was like, "Yes, there's no drops because money is easy to get in Tarkov right now." Because people were asking, "Is like, is there drops in this? Like in the Twitch chat,
Yeah,
drops? Question mark drops?" So I thought that was pretty funny. Um,
the big
but yeah,
man.
I mean, they what's
The
that?
big man acknowledges,
Yeah,
the ridiculous state of the economy.
yeah. I was really glad that he did that, and it was like very tongue in cheek. So that made me smile. Um, Someone did ask, "Why did you ruin Tetris Barter?" And, he was kinda like, "Oh god, here we go." And then he said he blamed his, like, his co-host. He's like, "Dimitri ruined it." And then he was, like, very stern. He was like, um, "We will not change anything. Get used to it." Because someone I think later, someone asked the same question.
Mm.
Um, so, yeah, I was, like, kinda glad in his sternness. I mean, I don't really like I think we said it before, how the nerf to the trader basically just forces you to play a waiting game and not a lot of people can always play that games and it's just kind of a not a great band-aid, but I understand why they did it. At least I think I do. Um, what else? Unless you got something. There was some other stuff I
Yeah,
wanted
I was going to take a small tangent off because of the Tetris thing, and I think that's been the catalyst for. I mean, I would go as far as to call it the public outcry as to the state of the economy. I think it's been the spark that set a lot of people back off again, complaining, moaning
to.
about all sorts of stuff. I mean, we had a good, having a quick chat before about how there's like a lot of whining going on in the Tarkov community at the moment. And so Tetris now is what? It's 2 Tetrises and 2 green batteries now to do the
Mhm.
barter.
Which honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with, but just the fact that it's limited to 100 for reset, I don't I personally haven't had an opportunity to try to get one because I don't have those items. But from what I've heard, it's just like it's not nearly impossible.
Yeah, and this
Um,
yeah, so this is I guess yeah, I guess as you say, there's kind of two elements to it, right? There's the barter itself, the making it worse, and then there's the trader reset thing. And we've spoken before about the trader reset, like camping, which is, as we've said, is not an interesting mechanic, and I still stand by that. But I can't quite work out why everyone is so upset. Is this just me? Like, it literally makes no, I mean, I know maybe I'm a special case because like looting really doesn't matter to me at all, but like I really don't understand. Like how many people does this affect? Does this affect like a lot of people?
let's
Or like I'm
yeah.
surprised as to how mad everyone is. Like so many people are so upset about it. Maybe because there's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon. I don't know as well. I mean, I think there was even a post on Twitter. I think Geeks had put a post out, and someone was just like, "Oh, you mad about this change?" And he was just like, "Oh no, I just think it's funny. I'm just kind of like jumping on it for the memes." So I think there is kind of like an element of like people just kind of like messing around with it and stuff as well. But it's I don't know because I wrote back on a post post sent out by Logical Solutions where he was saying like
Mhm.
good or bad or what do people think about it and
Yeah, I
like
think I saw that.
yeah and I like my take on it is just like firstly it doesn't do
Does
like
it?
it doesn't mean anything like who
Mhm.
cares for a start right like oh Tetris is now not as worth as much like does it really affect the game that much? Like, I just really don't think it does anything. But then the other half of it is like, because it doesn't affect the game so much, why did they even bother doing it? Right? It's just like kind of both of my
See,
questions are like, it doesn't matter, and it also doesn't matter. So why change it? It's just like, what are they like? There's bigger things to think about and worry about and put changes in for. Like, why this? I don't get it. What does it do? It doesn't fix anything, right? It doesn't fix the hatchet runner because they'll still go for GPUs, and
but see,
it doesn't fix the economy because like how many people are actually getting it? Well, only 100 per thing now, apparently. But I don't know how many people were getting it before. But you know,
it really makes me wonder if this was a target change specifically to hatchet running. Because like you said, it doesn't really matter if you get a GPU, you know what I mean? You can put that in your farm, but if you're just to someone that doesn't have a farm, a GPU is meaningless. But a Tetris, oh my god, dude, that's a meta kit for Johnny starting out in his level 10 account
mm,
hatchet running. So I kind of wonder what the real incentive behind it was. Now I will say just a quick side note is that I part of me likes the change because now as far as like the limit of the trade you can do, because now it's like, well, now the Tetris that's found in raid, I could sell in the flea market or maybe trade with someone else for something. It's not just like this mindless thing where I exchange for a Bitcoin every time. You know what I mean? But then it's like you got this not found in raid Tetris. So now you have to barter with it, or I shouldn't say you have to, but that's pretty much the only real
yeah,
sensible thing to do. But then they had the limit. So then it's like that's the part I also don't like is then if I haven't experienced this yet, but if I'm in that experience, man, that's gonna suck just sitting there spamming F5 for 30 minutes until it resets because you gotta be there on time.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Anyways, what were you gonna say?
yeah. No, I think I've kind of answered my own question about
Mhm.
where it matters because of what you were saying there, and it's like that thing of my initial response was, well, you can just go and get a GPU and it's fine. But it's just like, oh, the Tetris was one of the very few items where the whole find and raid system didn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
And so that is actually probably the answer, given that I've thought about it for a little bit longer, and given what you said then, you've kind of led me to the answer myself, I think, as to
Mhm.
why that was an answer. But yeah, I mean, look, it's just the same as always, right? I don't think that the trader reducing the trader down to one barter per hour or whatever. That's like that's not a good answer. It just makes for bad
Yeah.
gameplay. So
It's a temporary solution, I understand. But part of me too is kind of, I feel like it was a very target change. Maybe it was necessary in the short term, but I kind of I'm not a big fan of the idea overall.
Yeah, I can't imagine
'Cause
it makes much
it
difference.
you could replace the Tetris with anything else. It's not like the Tetris is the problem, you know? I feel like there's something deeper there.
Yeah, exactly.
Secure container. But
Exactly.
anyways.
Well, my chat's actually saying, why didn't they just remove the ability of putting the Tetris in your container? Which is completely fair, right? And like,
Right.
I'm of the opinion, I've been of this opinion for a long time, actually. I'm not sure whether I actually even said it on the podcast before, but like, I'm of the opinion that the secure container should be like a carry case of things you take in. Once you take an item out, you cannot put it back in again, right? Nothing
Mhm.
goes in the container except in your stash. And I'm a fan of that. And I think I've seen that before from someone else as well, actually. I can't remember who. I think it might have been like Dan Exert or someone. I'm a fan of
Mhm.
that. So it's like, it's meds, it's ammo, it's stuff you want to take in with you, but and that you want to keep safe, and it's stuff that you want to use on multiple raids. But you can't put anything in it once you're in raid. If you take something out, that's it. It's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. We could go into that. But before we go down that road, there is a
Mhm.
couple of things I want to say more about the podcast.
Yes, definitely.
Um, so strength and endurance are getting nerfed. They mentioned that,
How
which I
much
like
did
a
they
lot.
say?
They didn't say. If they did, I missed it. But I think that's good because this wipe has been super easy to level strength with like strength and endurance of like the hideout bonuses. They made they made your weight um that you could carry before you got overweighted or over encumbered lower, so it's easier to level strength earlier on.
Mhm.
Um and then I mean, yeah, just the meta of just like power leveling strength is I feel like has just been very prevalent. Like I've killed guys and loot their backpacks and it's like, oh my god, they got a full backpack and it's just all shotgun shells. Because they're they're power leveling. Like I mean, I don't blame them. I
Yeah,
mean, I've done it before. So and yeah, I personally feel like the max elite perks are just too strong, way too
agreed.
strong. The jump from level
Agreed.
50 51 is just kind of insane. Um, so we'll see what these nerfs are like. I'm glad that's happening. There was a new Hemo and a new IFAC,
Oh
which is
yeah.
kind of
Is the
interesting.
so the IFAC, is it called the AFAC, right? And it's like going to be
I don't
more
know.
health, it seems. I don't know what's the new Hemo
Yeah,
for. I couldn't figure out what that was.
he said it was a faster Hemo. I don't know if that means like
Hmm,
application use time, heal time, stopping the bleed. I don't know. So we'll see.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see what that one's
Um,
about. I don't know. I couldn't actually work it out from what I'd read so far as to what that will be. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, this new AFAC's got like 400 HP apparently.
I did see that briefly. Yeah. So another interesting thing that I saw that they were talking about was BSG's works closely with tournament events like Evasion, and there's a Twitch Rivals coming in the spring, and drops will be coming with these events. So they got like Evasion tournament, Punisher tournament, Twitch drops, and yeah, he said he was working closely with them. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see what that's like. And I think it makes sense because it's going to be a big event. It's community driven. It's going to get people engaged. It's sort of like free advertisement
Yeah.
for the game for them. So like then you got drops stacked on top. So yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting.
We're going to see how they do Twitch Rivals again. I don't know.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Because I think the last one was a bit of a
It's okay. I just
shit
find it
show.
kind of like, I mean, we spoke about this with Shifty, but I just find them a little bit dull compared to the other tournaments. So
Yeah,
we'll see how they do it. I've got my good
the
old purple
production.
armband though, so you know it's all
Oh
good.
yeah.
Twitch Rivals armband representing.
Yes, Nikita hopes that by the end of this year he will be able to know the exact release date for EFT.
Ooh,
That was interesting to hear him say that because that to me, because the path that they were saying right now, as far as maps is concerned, was factory expansion, lighthouse, and then streets.
hmm,
Which then leaves terminal, which I think terminal is like the end game story for their story driven quest line,
yeah,
which is like how you beat the game. So that's all very interesting to me.
yes, that
We'll
sounds quite
see.
cool.
if that's the case, if they can, you know, patch. I think he said patch 13. He wants to be like, if they can get patch 13 out by the end of this year, because it's going to have like the most features in it, that will put them on track for, points or 1.0. So
awesome. It's cool that he's thinking about 1.0. That's exciting to know that he's like, it's even on the
yeah,
horizon, that it's like, it's
yeah,
in his brain somewhere that this game might actually get released.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for sure, it has to. Like they got, I mean, I'm sure they really want to get it over with, because
I'm
it's been what,
sure.
4 years in the making.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, it's
I
been a
mean, I
long
feel like
time.
yeah,
I was going to
so
say,
we'll
is it
see.
only 4? I'm not actually sure, but that's
I think so.
yeah, maybe it's yeah, 4 or 5. I think actually, I think you're right.
I think we're coming up on 5
I
here
think you're
soon.
right. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
As a complete random aside, given that you mentioned Terminal, did you watch the raid series yet? Have you watched
No,
them?
I haven't.
Oh, dude, go on, you got to watch it because it finishes in
I
Terminal.
know.
It's sick.
I haven't even watched Dota 2 Dragon Blood
Oh, no,
or
I
whatever.
haven't watched that. It's fine. But the raid's been out
Yeah.
for ages. They've been out for ages. You need
I
to watch them.
know, I
You
know.
need to watch them.
Yeah. I don't really do Netflix anymore, but
Yeah. There's
we'll
like
see.
they're really short. I said to you last time they're really short. So
Yeah.
you can you get the whole series done in like an hour. It's definitely worth it. 100% worth
I
it.
know, I
I tell you
know.
every time, it's super worth it.
I'm too sucked into GTA RP. That's my
So I start like a
that's my
weekly
TV.
reminder to watch the raid on this podcast every time. It's like anyone who hasn't watched the raid, go and watch the raid series, and all the viewers and all the listeners. Anyone who's listening, go and watch the raid series. It's fantastic.
You'll make me look bad. We'll get to it one day.
Yeah.
One day. There was some more stuff, I think, but hold on. I feel like I'm missing something pretty important. We didn't really talk much about the Scav boss, but the factory Scav boss, it looks like they showed like an animation of some dude with a sledgehammer just like bashing the ground. So I thought that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for that.
God. Is that coming in the next one? Is factory expansion coming in 12.10?
Factory expansion is going to be
Or is it
a
12,
side
11?
patch. So like in like the next 2-3 weeks, it's gonna be like factory expansion.
Yeah. And they're not wiping for any of this, are they? So the big wipe's probably going to come.
I think we got another 3 months, 4 months
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's that going to be?
So
Maybe the lighthouse patch? I
probably
would
that sounds about
think.
right.
Because it's not streets, because streets is kind of
I
too
think it
far
would have
away,
to
right?
be. I would prefer them to have like a major new system added with the wipe, like for example, armor plates.
Yeah.
Hit armor hit zone, something like that.
That would be
Because that
nice.
makes the most sense to me.
That'd be nice.
Um, you know, or like some economy thing going on that we could test. Which reminds me, if the game wipes, we're gonna have access to all that BP and all those AKs and stuff.
Or the gifts.
The holiday gift, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I
so.
think I'm gonna delete mine. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna be stubborn. All right. The last thing I wanted to say was they talked about networking and anti-cheat take up the most time to work on. Which makes sense to me. Those are probably the two. I mean, I can only imagine how much they're working on that. And he even went into detail about how some of these countries are trying to get servers on, but because the market is so low, like the competition, there's sort of like a mini monopoly, and they they like overprice their servers, and the servers are really bad. Like the infrastructure is really
Really?
bad. So they're like, yeah, someone was like, "Hey, can you find me can you get servers in whatever country?" And he was like, "If you can find me good service providers, send it to me." So I thought that was kind of interesting. I never really
Yeah.
considered like if I lived in like some other country outside of the US or whatever. So
Yeah. Where were they
um
talking from? Was that Brazil or
can't remember.
something? Or
Yeah, I
who knows
can't
where?
remember. It was
Yeah.
somewhere in the Middle East. I can't remember. Um
tough.
Another thing that I just saw, they wanted the market to be unpredictable as possible with human interaction, and they want to make the traders as human as possible. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll see how it all pans out.
We will see. I agree on that. I want them to do more in-game things. It doesn't even need to be economy tests or like big shocks. It just needs to be like certain supply squeezes and that kind of thing. You want to
Yeah,
simulate the real market. That kind of stuff happens in the
yeah,
real market. Some of it's like human based. Like some of the most fun stories I have about the flea market is stuff just going wild because like the price drops quite crazy because like there's some disturbance in the flea market because like they give out a load of BP for free and that kind of thing. And that stuff's interesting, you know. It means that things aren't stable, and nothing should ever really be risk free, in my opinion. In EFT, there should always be some kind of like pros and cons between it. I've been brainstorming all sorts of stuff recently, like almost things like you have kind of like a hideout like net worth or something, and it's just like the higher your net worth is, the more likely are you just going to get raided by scavs like when you're out,
that's
and you come
interesting.
back and like
I
someone stolen a graphics card or something. You're like, God damn it.
I literally had a YouTube comment like with this guy. I think it was actually on our it was on our the show we did with Airwing.
Ah,
Someone left a comment and they were like, "Hey, I really enjoyed the show, blah blah blah, and here's my idea of how they could like do this cool feature where when you have like your generator on, your high like all your GPUs running,
mm,
you have like a X% chance of getting raided by scavs, and if you're not there to defend, because you can basically like play in the hideout, it's like this whole
yeah,
playable space. If you're not there to defend, then like maybe they'll steal some of your loots or some of your things. But if you like cut the fuel off at night, then it lowers the percentage by a little bit. And the less graphic cards you have, like the lower the percentage of you getting rated. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool way to like balance, like add some like gameplay element while balancing out the whole issue with the infinite money printing machine that the Bitcoin farm is.
Can you imagine just like being in the hideout though, looking at like the front door, just like nailing scavs as they like run in? You're just like, no, not my precious cards, get out!
Dun dun dun! FBI, open!
You're just
So
there,
out.
you're just there with a drum mag of like PS or whatever, just like get out of here.
PPSH.
Exactly, as they're like pouring in, you're just like, I've got level 3 security, you're never getting in. They're like on that camera. Have you ever seen the camera at the front door? There's like the dead body in the stairwell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's some cool
yeah,
ideas. There's some cool ideas. But yeah, nothing
for
should ever be
sure.
risk free. I think there needs to be
Yeah,
more jeopardy
absolutely.
for top level players. It's too easy to
Anything that's like
not think.
adds risk reward to the game, I'm just like I'm all for. I'm all for 100%. There's so many different avenues they could go. I just yeah, I'll just say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad's saying Pesley mentioned the GPU durability is coming. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
that's
spoke
where I
about
heard
this
it
before, right?
from.
And
Yeah.
Pesley says it's coming. Hopefully, it's coming. I think it should come. Honestly,
I think it makes
it makes
sense.
sense.
I don't see why not. I feel like more things in the hideout should be durability based.
Yeah,
Just it makes
I
sense.
think everything should be durability based. Actually, we spoke about this with
Yeah,
Airwing that
absolutely.
one time, right? I think every component part in the weapon should have durability as well, and wear out, and you need to change your barrels and stuff.
Yeah, I remember
Kind of
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be
Yeah.
cool. I think that would be interesting. Question though, and I don't know the answer
Mhm.
to this, and I guess it kind of depends on what the durability is on these things. Will this make the price of graphics cards go up or down? Because there's going to be a lot more people buying them.
We'll see. It's like there's like so many ways they could do it because you could take a broken GPU and you could like then disassemble it like and craft circuit boards and PSU fans and or Vertex or whatever. Or you could, have like a menu that a UI that pops up and it's like this part is 80% pristine, affecting the overall durability. This part is like 20% pristine, affecting the overall durability or like the efficiency of the graphics card. Then you
Mm,
could like, you know what I mean? You swap out like, oh, I'm gonna go on the market and buy a CPU, but then it's like listed by its
like
durability.
yeah,
Yeah. So then you have like
that's
such a
nice.
more like deep and diverse market there.
That's good. Yeah, and so your GPU would kind of like, yeah, exactly. It would perform. in line with its like durability kind of thing. So it like slowly degrades and it gives you less as it goes along.
Yeah, so it's like there's so many different ways they
That's
could do it.
neat. That's
Yeah.
neat. I like that. I like that idea. Because I really like the same idea for weapon parts too. And I think it adds this kind of like, because I was thinking about this again, which is the RPG element, which is it's what makes Tarkov what it is. It's also the cause of most of its issues in terms of game structure. Anyway, like we're not talking about desync or any of the other stuff because that's like that could happen to any game, and Tarkov could not have it, right? Or it could be much better if it had a different system. So that's separate. But just in terms of like game structure, the reason why it gets they're trying to like make this balance between new players feeling like it's impossible and high level players feeling that they're actually getting
Mhm.
rewarded for playing the game and having a high level kit. Because if you made armor completely useless and all the guns like laser beams, then it wouldn't make any difference, and the RPG element's gone. So trying to make and I think like also the interesting thing is that like most RPG games are PVE first and then PvP second, whereas Tarkov's the other way around. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
that's
PvP
true.
first. Like PvE is like it's just there, but Tarkov really is a PvP game, and so trying to balance that, it's like the reason why it's so frustrating. I think in a lot of ways, and it's like it's
Mhm.
both. It's both. It's kind of like sort of its most appealing feature as well as its biggest problem. It causes all of these issues because you're trying to balance these things. The Mosin could one shot, and then they increase the thorax health, and then they introduced the KS-23, and every single Chad rees in on Twitter for like 3 weeks nonstop. Um, which I had actually made a note about that to speak about, but I mean we'll see if we get time. But I think like the one gameplay loop that EFT is missing is you take like an RPG where you're doing like a boss for drops, and there's a chance of dropping a particular item, and there's a chance of dropping an item with a particular set of stats on it because there's like a random range of stats. Strength 6 to 12, and magic damage 6 to 12, and you might get a 6-6, which is just crap, and there's a 12-12, which is like the perfect one, which sells for like billions on the marketplace. Depends what it is really, but like Tarkov's kind of missing that because there's no differentiation between any of the pieces, and that's why I think it would work quite well for, as you say, for GPUs, and then also for weapon parts. Like, imagine from the weapon, from the traders, you add like, well, imagine you just add like a new variable quality on everything. So then it's not
Mhm.
necessarily durability. Like durability can be its own thing, can stay the way it was before. Because what we're really talking about is quality. So GPUs have a quality, or the weapons parts have a quality, and like the stuff maybe you get from the traders is like, it's 50% at most. And to get something that's got like a high quality on it, has to come from the raid, and so it kind of incentivizes you to go and loot, and then those parts degrade over time, so you can't just keep them forever. And there's that kind of like makes you want to do the game loop, and it's like, well, maybe I don't know, certain boxes are guarded by the bosses, and they can have like those kind of items. You get like a chance of getting a 99% quality item, and I don't know. There's kind of like just one thing I was
Yeah.
thinking, but it's kind of like what drives people in normal RPGs to just go and run the same bosses over and over and over and over and over again. It's like super rare loot jobs and this kind of like quality factor on some things. Like I normally draw my experience from Diablo because that's where that's the
Mhm.
kind of the RPG I probably know the best, and that's people do run for the same item over and over. Or at least I did when I used to play, because of this like this variability, and people would be like looking for kind of like the perfect stat drops for those particular items, and those things would be very valuable, and it incentivizes people to go and actually do it over and over again. But I don't think there's nothing that's like scarce enough, because you got that issue is because Diablo is like kind of, this is sort of coming back to what I was saying at the start, right? It's because Diablo is kind of PvE. It doesn't really matter if your character, I mean, it doesn't matter if your character's like overpowered, so to speak, because you're only fighting against monster enemies most of the time anyway.
Right.
Whereas Doggo has to play it a little bit more carefully. You don't want like a super well, I don't know, do you? Do you want a super rare loot spawn drop that's like makes you kind of OP? I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe that's okay if it's like rare enough and it's not on the flea market or anything, and you'd only get it if you found it in raid on somebody, and it means you couldn't run them all the time because you like disconnected it from the fleet somehow. I've really becoming, I'm sure this is a bit of a stream of consciousness here, but I'm like really becoming a believer that like the top level items, you need to somehow extract them out of the flea market. You just can't have them being bought. They need to be dropped in world somewhere that's kind of like risky to go and is difficult to actually do. but you can't just buy them, because that's actually the problem. You need to disconnect the Chad money supply from the gear. That's the only way that you fix this and actually make it better. And that's why people say remove the flea market.
Say it again.
Well, you need to make it so that you can't just buy the gear sets from the fleet, because it doesn't matter what you do to the economy. Some people, or a lot of endgame players, will just have infinite cash. So it doesn't matter if they just go to the fleet and buy a slick and a better HK every single time. So you either need to make the prices like outrageous, like insane, so they're not even like, it's just not even possible to purchase. But that's just that doesn't really seem to work in my mind. The only way to do it is to make people actually go and find these things themselves. So if you want to use it, you have to go and find it, especially if it's top tier. You can't just like use the marketplace to buy stuff. And I don't know, I'm like, this is why people say this is the reason why people say remove the flea market and remove the top level stuff off the traders. It's so that high level people can't do this stuff. And that is the reason. So you need to somehow disconnect these items from the Chad players so that their infinite piles of money can't just be implemented on loop to purchase these top level items and run them continuously. Because what they're doing, I think this is kind of partly in the crashed video, right? It was about the players who are using the hideout to make endgame ammo, which they would never buy. And then they go into raid and they get killed by the person who bought it. You know what I mean? That kind of like philosophy. It's kind of like the top level players like farm the low level players in terms of the items. Like you on your own, you would never find enough slicks to run them every raid as an individual. Right? There's a small portion of the player base that's running slicks every raid, and they're using the slicks of the entire player base that get put on the flea to run their raids with them. For example, because most players who pick one up will sell it because it's so much money. You know what I mean? So you have 10 players farming items. Yeah, you have 10 players farming items. One of those players is a Chad player who's buying the items of the other 10. And these are the 9 people. The other 9 guys are like just selling stuff to try and get by. You know what I mean? 6 is a bad example because of the barter. That's another thing that should be removed. That barter is way too cheap. But that's another story.
Don't nerf my barter, Nikita, please.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a bit of a ramble rant, but I'm still like I'm sort of getting there mentally, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to like, kind of go with your thought process here. I mean, like me personally, anecdotal is that this wipe I pretty much only ran slicks and whatever, the class 5 rig that you can barter for.
The Oz Armor one, yeah.
So if I find a slick in raid that has the found in raid checkmark box, I'm going to sell it.
Yes.
Because I can barter for it and get it for half the price it's going on the flea market for.
Yeah.
If I kill someone and they have a slick, I'm going to take it, bring it out, repair it, and use it. It has value in it, but I can't exchange that for cash. I mean, I can, but it's not as much as I would get if it had that one little check mark on it. So, to your point from earlier, when it cash is king in Tarkov.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you made the incentive to not just convert everything to cash, by some maybe I don't know, found in raid barters, for example.
I think it's
then you diversify your what's valuable, I guess. Because literally you can just, it doesn't matter what you loot, you can just turn that into cash and get whatever you want, because the flea market basically interconnects everyone. You know, it's not necessarily that the flea market's the issue. You know what I mean? I mean, in some ways, maybe a bit, because it literally is just like Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's too efficient.
Yeah.
The flea market is too efficient at
getting
people what they want.
Like, there's kind of no risk to it. It's not like, I hate to keep going here to like an open world example, but it's not like I have to travel somewhere, and then buy the thing and then take it and transport it back to a location. It's just kind of like I click and I buy what I want.
Yes.
But It's like there's no like. Have you ever done a barter on the flea market that's not a trader, for example?
Today, I did my first
What
one.
did you barter for?
I bartered, and I don't even know why I bothered. Let's. I don't even
Ex-
know why I did it. I saw it and just did it because I felt like I wanted to. Because I've never done one before, really. I bartered
yeah,
one Scav backpack for 2 Ratnik helmets
that seems
today.
like a really good barter.
For me,
Wait,
yes.
you gave
I gave
away,
away
yeah,
one
yeah,
Scav backpack and got 2
and you got to, yeah, that seems like a good barter.
Speed 47 helmets. Yeah. I don't know why they did that.
That seems like a, and that's where I feel like it's literally just a noob trap. It's either you're bartering, you're the guy losing on the barter, or you're the guy winning on the barter, which is like what 90% of the barters are, in
Yeah.
my opinion, on the flea market is bad trades for you,
Yes.
the, yeah.
Pretty much.
So it's like, if they ever got to a state where cash wasn't king, then it would be like, hey, I'm, level 1 and I'm here in my progression. I really value this thing. Whereas like some other guy, hey, I'm level 40 and I really value this thing, you know? But these two guys value different things, so they can do an exchange of goods to get the things they both value. So it's kind of like a win-win. Maybe the thing that the level 40 guy wants, the level 10 guy doesn't really have any need for. Sure, it's valuable, but as of right now in his progression, he doesn't need it. You follow me?
Yeah, it's like PSU or something.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It could be whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe he really needs that can of Trashanka. So like,
Yeah. I don't know.
yeah.
I kind of like went through like a logical thought process as well about like, okay,
Hmm.
well, what happens if you just like make the entire system like don't remove the fleet, but just make it only barters, for example.
Hmm.
And I kind of like thought about what might happen here, and I think we actually did
Hmm.
see an example at the end of last wipe, and it was around items that have things like red rebels and stuff that have like really really high flea market fees. We actually kind of saw a glimpse of this already previously, which is where items start getting used as intermediary items, and what you end up with is actually like quite interesting, is you end up reinventing cash in the form of something else, like because it
Yeah.
disappeared previously with the Alyonka sugars, if you remember, when you could relist everything back on the fleet. This is like the very
Hmm.
final stages of the wipe before the finding raid system got put in place, and people were
Yeah.
using Alyonka sugars as a medium of exchange. It kind of became its own currency because
Yeah.
people were listing stuff for Alyonka and then relisting the thing that they wanted for Alyonka because the game thought that Alyonkas were only worth 100 or whatever, and so it meant the fee was really low, and so Alyonka actually came for really high and expensive valuable items like graphics cards and Red Rebels and that kind of thing. It actually like
Hmm.
Alyonkas was actually like the preferable
It became a
currency. It
new,
kind of became a
yeah,
new
that's
currency
interesting.
for those sort of items, but it only works if you can relist, right? The finding raid system breaks it because you can't relist them if you trade them for Alyonkas in the first place. You need to be able to use
Hmm.
them to then trade them to somebody else. But it's quite funny. It's kind of like, you try to. I feel like if you're going to make it barters only, I mean, maybe you do make it like if it's find in raid barters only. I just think you kill the liquidity of the flea market completely. I just feel like it's then too difficult to find anything that actually ever trades. Maybe that's good. I don't know. I feel like it kind of it just destroys the flea so much that it's then not really worth it because it's so hard. Like right now, it's so hard to find any good barters. But I guess if there was no alternative and there was no cash market to look at, then it wouldn't necessarily be good barters, bad barters, that kind of thing. Maybe it would work. Maybe a barter only flea with the finding raid requirement on it would work. I don't know. Would it work? Would it though? Would it though? Because people would
I
need
think,
exactly. You would both need exactly what each other people needs. Otherwise,
yeah, I think you have
it
to
wouldn't
like
work, and you couldn't even step through
cash,
it, right? Because the first thing you get, you
cash.
can't relist.
Say it again. The
Like
first
the
thing you
first
get.
item that you say, you go like, oh well, I want a rig,
Hmm.
and this guy wants a GPU,
Hmm.
but he doesn't.
He
I don't
doesn't
know.
want the rig.
Yeah, but he doesn't want the rig, but this guy wants a rig, and so I can like do some side barter and then come back and give it to the first guy.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to like relist the items. Like the find and raid thing breaks it because you can't do that kind of chain. But then having the find and raid thing just means that people will just replace cash with another item. So maybe you do need it. Maybe you need it as that restriction.
I just feel like if they could if they could just devalue cash a bit, I think that would just bring it a little bit more in check. Because it's just right now, just the whole concept of bartering is just like
It's broken, right? It's broken. I think the trader barters need to get, like, for the start, trader barters need to be much better value. They need to be like twice the value that they are now, and it should be
mhm,
finding raid items only, in my opinion. I
mhm,
think that fixes the bartering system with the traders. Because at the moment, like, you only do the barter because you have the level, and then it's cheaper than the fleet. That's the only reason why you'd ever
mhm,
do it. And you've got this weird two-stage economy that you were just talking about, right? You find an item that you can barter for, you sell it, and then you do the barter if you actually want to use the item.
mhm.
It's pointless otherwise. But yeah, if it's finding raid barters only, then you make them really good value, and then it
Right.
gives more, you know, emphasis to looting and getting items, and it gives you a reason to actually do that stuff. And then it's not just like my entire loot pool can just be liquidated for cash, and then I will then go and purchase anything that I want. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
this item is useful for this barter, and this item is useful for this barter, and this item is useful for this barter, and it's like a lot more,
Right.
it's a lot more interesting
So
in
you're
that
kind of
respect.
like
Yeah,
making cash not as valuable.
yeah,
You're
because
sort
you
of
can't buy those items with cash, or you can, but it's like much more expensive
yeah.
or something like that. Maybe you can't even buy them like that. Maybe you can't buy them with cash. Maybe that's what you do with the traders. You just take the top level stuff and you make them all barters only.
But see, I almost think that let's just say traders didn't let's say you couldn't sell to traders, for example,
Hmm.
right? So then that would make any barter item, you know, kind of have its own value on the flea market based off people's perception. So then if like a vase was worth you could trade a vase for like a DVL, right?
Yeah,
Would a vase what would the price of a vase be? Would it be the price of a DVL in that situation?
probably.
Probably, I would think,
Probably,
most
yes.
reasonably,
Yeah.
but that really doesn't really solve anything. So you just I don't know, there's gotta be some, like, tradability there, some trade-off. I think it really is just the flea market is just you just exchange
But
anything for cash.
yeah, but what we're saying, right, though, but when you buy that item off the fleet, it's no longer finding rates. You couldn't use it for the barter.
True,
You see,
true, that's really the key
and
there.
that's the key.
Yeah,
I think it's good.
yeah.
I think it's good.
There's I really wasn't conscientious of this, but because I was kind of a Debbie Downer when it came to the founding rate system, because I was, like,
Mm,
really excited for it, and then I was like, "You know what? This" because I sort of had, like, this perception of, like, "Oh, yeah, it's gonna stop hatchet running, and this is the solution. It's gonna fix the economy," and it really hasn't done
mhm.
anyways, um, someone's enlightened me, and there's the found and raid system, like, that there's, like, so many things they can extrapolate out from that to add other systems to sort of do other very cool shit.
Like what other flags?
Yes, because now you have you could have, like, something that indicates where you got this, like, how you got it, you know? Like, just as an example, like, I think even Veritas said something like this, like, say Prapor wants shotguns, right?
Hmm.
Instead of saying, like, they have to be found in raid, what if there was, like it had, like, a source, like, where that came from? That came from a scav on the map customs, you know?
Yeah.
And that was, like, a part of his quest, like, "Hey, I want you specifically to get a shotgun from a scav in customs," you know what I mean?
Yeah, so each item's
Same
kinda got, like, a metadata with it. It's not just, like,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
very simplistic flags that we have right now, but it's kinda got, like, a bit more of the history of the item.
right. And that could, like, expand out outside of the quest system. That could be in, like, a barter system, perhaps, you know? Like, "Hey, I want specifically a vase found inside a safe on the map shoreline or in the cottage," you know? So you get a vase in the cottage, like, "Oh my god, I can go get this a therapist, and she's gonna give me 20,000 GPUs or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
There's so much they could do with it. There's so
Yeah,
much
that's
they
got
could do with
potential.
it.
That's got potential. Like, yeah, I can't think of like any specific things like right this second as to what that would be good for, but it's like the scope is so wide that it's definitely good for something.
Right. Right. There's definitely I think they're going to move somewhere in that direction. I don't know. It's tough too because then you like put in the equation the game in the future, you know,
Mm.
1.0. Like something that I thought about, I didn't really get to say is like when they have 1.0, are we gonna like for me, if it doesn't have any open world elements, I'm gonna feel really burned by BSG because they need to go on the website and take that out of the fucking title if they release a game without any open. I don't care how basic it is, all right, but you cannot have a map there and then call that open world like a visual map. Like, yep, it's all connected. It's all open world.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the way it's going to go to start with is just like more restrictions that you can only go from one map to the next map via, you can only go to the neighboring maps to begin with. And I still think it'll be raid based. I don't think they'll ever get away from like it fully being raid based, to be honest with you. I just can't
Mhm.
see how. But I think it might be, you have to go from map to map. But like the map's not, it's not
Even
quite big
that,
enough, I don't think, to actually not be, kind of each map will connect to like two or three others kind of thing.
what do you
Is
mean?
the way I think it is at the moment. But there's not enough, there's like not enough maps. I guess they're adding like two more for sure. So maybe it'll be okay
Oh,
then. But I'm just saying like right now, obviously you can go to any map. Whereas I think the way that they'll do it is saying you're in customs and you finished a raid there. Now you can go to here or here or something.
it's kind of what I think as well, which is fine. Like it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. So
Maybe they've got better
it's just
plans.
it's so complicated, man. Because
Hmm.
I mean, it's just like it all plays into the loot economy, the economy as a whole, the Tarkov experience. I mean, it's all very complex. You know,
Exactly. And you change
you
one thing,
change
it
one
changes all the
little
stuff.
thing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. 100%.
you know.
100%.
Someone said zone based swayed open world. It's a pretty good descriptor.
Just before we wrap up, what do you think about the
Yeah,
KS-23?
I man, this is such a. I honestly do not encounter it much, and I tried one stream. I was just like, you know what, just for fun, I wanted to like get some footage for reserve because I hate D2. I learned my lesson going there.
Hmm.
Um, And so, yeah, I was like, you know what? Let me just do some KS-23 runs, and I absolutely suck with it, dude. Like, I mean, it's just like the one time I was like crouch walking, and the guy was coming to me, and I had the shot on him in his legs. I shot in between his legs, dude. I hit him 5 times, and it wasn't enough to kill him, and he just vector sprays full autos me down. Like, okay, well, but at the same time, is like it just kind of sucks because when even if I kill the guy with the KS-23 and I loot him, it's like 0 value to me because I can't sell it on the flea market, right?
Yeah,
I can only vendor it, and it's again, cash is king. It's not worth the slots it takes up to vendor it.
exactly.
But what's interesting is if you go on the flea market and look at it, I haven't looked at it recently unless it's changed, but last time I looked, the KS-23 sells for like 145K on the flea market.
Yeah,
So it's like valuable because you can only buy 2 per reset or 3 per reset or something from the trader. And people want it because it's like one of the very few guns that's cheap from the trader and has a chance to kill Giga Chads, Juggernauts, right? So it makes you competitive. But then it's like aiming for the legs, which is like just like kind of a weird thing for me
yeah,
personally to like be accustomed to in like a shooter game. And it's like it's a close range gun, so it's like kinda got like some tactical depth to it, but like I almost just like then like it's like frustrating to me like a Mosin just cannot kill a hatchet runner in the chest. I'm like, man, I'm really starting to miss the Mosin days now that I think about it. I don't know. Is it OP? I personally don't run into it a lot, so I don't really know. And I tried using it, and like I said, I kind of just suck with it because it's a very different play style. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, and I'm not in the space where I'm like I feel like I have to, take my time, and it's like it doesn't matter if I die.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just chase shots like a dummy. So I don't know.
I think that's a good summary. I actually think that's a good summary because I don't run into it that much either. I've been killed by it a few times on factory, and
Hmm.
that's kind of like fair enough. But I don't run into it that much. I've killed people with it. I've been killed by people with it. Probably kill more people with one of the biggest issues with it is that when you get hit by it, even if you don't die, you are like your legs are stumps, and your whole
Yeah,
body is just like
it does a
destroyed.
lot of damage.
Does a ridiculous amount of damage. Now I had a really irritating fight on stream. This is
Hmm.
this is actually when I quit playing Interchange on stream, like for real. Because I was like, this is not going well. I had a fight. I was really geared as well, right? So I was
Hmm.
like meta N1A, and I fought a guy wearing basically nothing and this KS-23, and we had a fight at a probably 25 meters, I would say, something like that. And every time I appeared, he just like blew one of his shots off and blacked one of my limbs. And I was like, at the beginning, I didn't know what I was fighting against. It was very confusing. And then the second time, I was just like, oh, this is so annoying. And the guy was just like quick peeking out, just like blasting a shot off. And like any of them that clipped me, I just like get a black limb. I was like, this is so irritating. Like, I should probably have just like been much more aggressive because like he couldn't have got through my armor with it, which is kind of the point. But I was like super messed up, like really quick. I had like one black right arm, one black left leg. And I was like, man, what is this? And I just was like disappearing and going somewhere else. And then I was like healing myself up, and he just kind of coincidentally just happened to like stumble upon me, and I shot him. And I was just like, oh, KS-23. Oh, okay, that kind of makes a lot more sense now because like anytime any of the pellets even go anywhere near you, something gets blacked, which is like it's quite scary. It is quite scary. Um,
Yeah,
I still think the flash rounds are probably more of a problem, honestly. I still think the flash rounds are more of a
it's
problem.
that's kind of my thought
Like, you
too.
can only buy
I
2
mean,
now, but, like, as I said, I got flashed, twice, I think, recently, and, like, man, it's horrible. Like, if you get caught in the full face with a flash and you're not wearing glasses and a visor, you just don't really stand a chance of getting your vision back before you're
yeah,
dead. It's so hard. It's so, so, so hard. So that's the only times when I've ever been okay is wearing the crossbow glasses and a visor as well. And the visor's 10%, I think, and the glasses like 30. So it's like 40% reduction. And you can just about see like the full white disappears after like 3 or 4 seconds, and you can like you get like a haze of the map around you, and you can just about do something. You're not literally just like blind running into the vending machine kind of thing. Um, and so yeah, I think other than that, I think it's probably all right. Like it is annoying just getting like one shot to the legs, and it's just a random spray of pellets. It's at point blank, but it's kind of like any leg meta in my opinion, right? It's like it's tactical, it's got a specific use case to it, it's difficult to use. I
right.
tried using the .45 vector with rip rounds in it, which is, a
Hmm.
4-shot kill to the legs or something, um and my first proper engagement with it was some dude who was up on on the rocks above customs gas station, and I was like, well, I can't do
I think I saw
anything. There's
that.
nothing I can do. Yeah, and it was just like I was gonna kind of like run, try and get a bit of a flank on or whatever, and it just got shot. So this is normally why I run like AP rounds because it's not really my style. Plus, you have to be shooting at the legs deliberately, which is something that I find difficult to with muscle memory. So I think like the KS is kind of like it's a pain, but it's okay. It's like maybe a little bit over amped. I don't know. I think it's a little bit much. Maybe a little bit too much.
I don't like the part that I think that bothers me most about the gun. Well, yeah, the most thing is that it's like you were saying, you kind of just shoot in a direction, and because it's a shotgun, because it's so powerful, it just like destroys your
Yeah,
limbs.
yeah.
Which then like kind of like makes it, since it is like in my opinion the budget gun, or what's the only gun that can make you competitive when you're like the closing the power gap. The only gun that can like close the
Yeah.
power gap properly. Um, that's a shotgun. You know what I mean? I kind of think the Mosin was sort of a better version of that because you did have to, there was more precision to it.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And that's
Now I will
been on
say,
Twitter, and I agree.
yeah, I think actually I was commenting with J Dog because he brought that point up. and I thought that was a really good point, J-Dog wise. But I will say though that the KS-23, since it is a shotgun, it is more situationally good. But just the fact that, like you said, you can just peek a corner and just shoot in their general direction. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I think I think it's like I don't know. It's tricky because getting one shot with the Mosin was annoying too because it was like
Oh, for
short and
sure.
medium range, so it was also irritating. But yeah, at least the guy had to actually hit the shot. That's kind of fair enough. I think like as a solo player, like fighting against two guys, one person's got a KS and the other's got like any other gun, because that's kind of what I fought against the other day, and it's just so annoying, right? Because like as soon as you get hit by anything, you lose a limb, and it's just so bad, right? It's so easy for the other guy to finish you off. It like especially sucks as solo because you got no one covering you. I think that's why I really don't.
Oh yeah.
That's why I don't like it
Do
so much.
you painkiller meta?
I do on factory, yeah.
Are you pre-pain? Okay,
I'm on factory, not necessarily the other maps because I'm in for so long, and a lot of them have like
that
these
makes
negative
sense.
energy in water now. You have to
Yeah,
just be like chugging water like a champion.
yeah.
These days, the amount that they've managed to debuff it with, but it's like I maybe think maybe they should change it because it's like it's at the moment it's like five. I think it's like what 5 pellets out of the 8 have to connect with the trap 10, and you die immediately. Like it seems
I I
a little bit much.
I
It's a
think
little
for
bit
me,
much.
the no matter what the gun is that closes the power gap, I just wish that that gun had value to me as someone that was above, like, was the guy on top in
Yeah,
this power struggle.
yeah.
Because that's just, like, the worst feeling is, like, I kill him, and there's nothing I can do. Like, I can't, like I could take his gun out of spite, and mind you, when I did, like, budget runs and KS-23 runs, I got literally everything back, Giga, like, everything.
Really, on the gun
I
too.
was shocked, yeah. I did, like, the RPK, like, a budget RPK, RDF, um, Hunters. I got they didn't even strip the parts off. They're like, "Ew, gross. You have an AFG green grip? Disgusting."
I love the AFG green. That's like I love that thing. It's so good.
I know.
It's so
They were
good.
like, they didn't even want that
Oh my god.
because it's worth nothing.
Yeah,
It's 8K a slot. It's like, psh, 8K a slot. Come on, bro. I'm only at 15K a slot. That's not worth my space, you
exactly.
know?
Yeah, it's true. I think, but this is the issue people used to have with the Mosin as well, right? Mosin man, and he's just got like a Mosin. You can't sell it back. You have to sell it back to trader for like 25K, and that's all he's got.
Yeah.
And it's like long as well. It's like fills like a whole row in your Scav BP or whatever it is you're running Burko or something. And you're like, well, it's not even worth taking.
But see, back when the flea market, you could sell things from Found and Raid, it's still because the supply was so high of a Mosin, because think about it, you get on scavs, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You can loot it, you can buy it from the traders and flip it. Like, it stayed at a pretty constant price. But
Mm.
if the Mosin was like just a little bit more lucrative, like a little bit less of a supply, because basically a sniper that can one tap,
Yeah.
class that's a pretty good gun in my opinion. You know what I mean? Yes, it's bolt action, it's not a full on him, but anyway, so
Yeah. Someone said something interesting the other day, actually, just before we finished, was about like
yeah.
what happens if they made it so that PvP loot was fine in raid if they're not in your party.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean,
Because it was supposed to be
I
for
think that'd be a
fixing
good
RMT, right? That was like one of the big reasons for it.
yeah. I mean, you could still make the argument that people are gonna RMT, like, they'll find some way to get around it. I personally say no matter what, anytime you have this, like, economy in a game, people are gonna do RMT.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, you tried to
like
minimize it, but it's going to happen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, try your best, but I don't think you should, trade gameplay over, you know,
Indeed.
what
I think it's
preventive
sad that like
measures.
the PvP is so difficult with the PvP thing. Like being able to sell other people's gear is really good, and I think it's sad that that's gone. I do. Like we've been playing with it for a long time, and it sucks. It's painful. It's annoying. I
Mhm.
pick up people's kits that I'm not going to run, and I've become a lot more ruthless about just going, I'm not going to run this kit and just sell it. Like if I am, it's probably in 6 months and I'll just build my own. Like I don't need to keep this guy's thing in my stash. Like my inventory is really empty at the moment because I'm just selling everyone's stuff because I'm just like, well, am I going to run this current? Probably not. I'll just get rid of it. Am I going to run this AK-74M? Like it's kind of all right, but like And everybody they use these components, and I'm not going to run this weapon. I just don't run this gun. So I'm just going to sell it. I'll just get rid of it. So I've just gone on like a purge through my inventory, just get rid of all of this stuff. And now whenever I pick these things up, I'm just like, it's gone. It's gone. So it'd be really nice if you could get that back. You know, someone spends 200k on a gun, you get more than like 70k for it. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I was just thinking, I think I've looted one Kurun this wipe. One. And I've seen it's like the most common armor I see, which is crazy because it's a class 5, but yeah, it's just yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I think that about wraps it up.
I think so.
Nerf the KS-23.
Nerf it. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I think it's mostly fine. Yeah,
I think it's mostly fine. People are using the trap rounds a lot more than the flash rounds, and thank God, because the flash rounds are brutally OP, and I don't know why people don't run it with 1 flash and 3 trap 10s every time. They should, because it's really good.
Yeah, even just like it's like a really good situational secondary gun to have, and when it's like the economy the way it is, like why not run it? You know?
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like to do the flashbang quest, I was trying to throw Zarya's for like 5 raids, and chat was like, get the chaos, and I just brought it in with 1 star in the chamber and 3 stars in the mag, and just blinded a load of people and then shot them, and it was so easy in comparison. I mean, it's really good. It's really good as a secondary. Really good as a secondary. I didn't even do like 1 and then traps. It's just like, now this baby's, you know, four stars in. You know, it took me two trader resets to get these stars, and I've got a bunch, and they're ready to blind you in the face. It's powerful. It's super powerful. What was I using with it? I can't remember now. I don't think it was Vector. Yeah, this is actually a bit ago. Yeah, it wasn't the MP7. I've still got loads of MP7s left. I've got like 20 still just like lying around. But it's awesome. I love that gun. Cool. Okay. That is it.
Let's wrap it up.
That is it. We're done. I'm done. Enough rambling.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate everyone. And we'll catch you guys next week.
See you later.